Hey, music lovers. Today's episode is brought to you by Teton Guitars. Confident, independent, and original. They were founded in 2010 to bring affordable, beautiful instruments to working musicians. Musical Miles Podcast is proud to partner with Teton Guitars. If you enjoy this podcast, make sure that you subscribe and share with your family and friends. Now sit back and enjoy this next episode on Musical Miles Podcast.
Yeah, I guess I'll kick this thing off. Might as well. Man, glad to see y'all out here. I love this town. I got to tell you, it's my first time to ever spend any time in this town, and I played all over the West, man. Cody, Buffalo, Wyoming, Red Lodge, Montana. Just a ton of places out here. But this is the first time I get to play in Whitefish, and it's a cool place. We've had a lot of fun in just the short 48 hours, I guess, we've been here so far. We've taken in a lot of your town and a lot of your outdoor activities, and have really enjoyed ourselves.
I spent a lot of money today.
Marla spent a lot of money, but she made a little money back. She's been on the slot machine since she got to town. And she's kind of a winner, and she's...
And a loser.
I wasn't going to say that, but... Anyway, I'll kick this thing off with a song that I had a couple weeks at number one back in 2004. Me and Philip and Marla have probably been in this deal longer than anybody else you'll see.
He's calling me old because it's me. I'm the oldest one. And
I wasn't going to say that either. But if you can't tell, this is like my sister. I mean, I don't have a sister, but if I had one, I'd want it to be her for sure.
Back at you, buddy.
Yeah. But this song was...
If I had a sister, I'd want it to be Brice.
You got a sister, and you would trade your sister for me. I know that for a fact. Oh gosh. It was. I wrote this with my buddy Odie Blackman and Byron Hill, and sometimes when you write these songs, it's they'll find a home 6-8 months, a year after you write them, and so when we wrote this song, we kind of felt like we'd really done our job that day. We thought, oh man, it took about an hour and a half to write this song, and that doesn't always happen, but it did this particular day, and we thought, man, we have written a hit. We know we have written a hit. And it only took the rest of the town in Nashville to figure that out 5.5 years later. It's crazy the way it happens sometimes, but I had a record deal at RCA, like Joanna said, and funny thing about this song, I got married in January of 2004, the third week of January. I lost my record deal the week after that at RCA. I lost my pub deal in February of that year, and by this time, my wife was damn glad she said yes to me. And but after a lot of prayers and time spent with the good Lord, I got another record deal in May of that year, got a new pub deal in May of that year. And 1st of June, this song came out on the radio that year, and in December of that year, it was 2 weeks at number one. So talk about a year that turns around completely. God is good, and He does answer prayers, but I love to tell this story because it's the funniest part of this whole deal. So I tried to cut this song when I had my deal at RCA, and the guy that ran the label told me it wasn't a hit. We played it in a meeting to try to figure out what we were going to cut, and it came on and listened to the first verse and chorus of the song, and he turned it off and said, no, that's not a hit. What else do we have? So we moved on, and I ended up cutting like 18 sides, 18 songs for them, and they never could find the first single they wanted to put out, and they wouldn't let me cut this. So this song comes out, it's number one, and during CMA week in Nashville, we have what they call the Songwriter Awards. And you probably all watch the CMA Awards on TV. Well, the couple days before the CMA Awards on Wednesday night, we have the Songwriter Awards in town, and everybody gets dressed up and supports the songwriting community there. And if you've had a hit that year, they honor you for having that hit. And you go in and they put this medallion around your neck, and then you walk in and you do a lot of interviews about how'd you write this song, it's different publications, it's TV, it's all that kind of stuff. And so I made my way all the way through all that and go down the end of the hall, turn right, and I'm walking back out to the auditorium where they're having the actual event, where they give everybody their awards. And I make the corner down there and I run right into that label head at RCA. And I'm 6'4", and he's all of 5'4". So my medallion hits him about eye level, and it's hanging around my neck, and he just kind of picks it up off my neck, off my chest, and he goes, "Brice?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Are you getting an award tonight?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." And he said, "What's it for?" And I said, "You know that song, Nothing On But The Radio, you told me wasn't a hit." I sure do hope this is a long night, 'cause I have never felt one so right. Each look into your eyes I'm falling a little more and more. Looks like we started us a fire, wrapped up in flames of desire, with every touch of burning higher. Two shadows dancing on the wall, with nothing on but the radio. Feel the music playing soft and slow. Hey, you and me and the lights down low. Nothing on but the radio.
Pat McGrath.
We'll fall asleep here in the moonlight. Tangled sheets will be here all night. And when we wake up in the morning, hey, we might stay like this all day. Two people meant to be together, two lovers dreaming about forever, and it just keeps on getting better. With every tender little kiss, nothing on but the radio. Feel the music playing soft and slow. Hey, you and me and the lights down low. Nothing on but the radio. Two people meant to be together, and it just keeps on getting better. With nothing on but the radio. Feel the music playing soft and slow. Hey, you and me and the lights down low. Nothing on but the radio. Hey, you and me and the lights down low. Nothing on but the radio.
Hey, music lovers, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Byron Duff, and I am here with Mr. Brice Long.
Thank you, Byron.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, man.
We appreciate it. We are here in Whitefish, Montana.
Yes, sir.
At the downtown in the round, the Big Sky Troubadours.
Yes, sir.
Is putting this event on, and it has been fantastic so far. So this is day 2.
Yes, sir.
So started out last night at 101 Central and introduced all the hit makers.
Right.
You were up on the stage last night as well, and we really appreciate the opportunity to come and sit down with you because as true music lovers, we love coming to events like this. But this is only my second songwriter festival.
Oh, wow.
And Miss Shanda's first.
All right.
I was in Livingston last weekend.
Oh, cool.
So that was my first one. But we've been live music lovers forever and ever.
Oh man, well bless your heart. We're thankful for y'all then.
Well, I like I tell everybody, it all starts with a song.
Yes, sir.
Right, and as the songwriter, that's where you come in to play. But I didn't realize, and most of our fans won't realize this either till this interview, but they've heard your songs on the radio for many, many years.
Yeah, I've been very blessed, Byron. Honestly, it's been a good ride. It's been a lot of years. I moved to Nashville in '93 and got my first pub deal with Reba, her company Starstruck in '96, and have I moved down there to do the whole artist thing, the record deal thing, and had a couple of those record deals, one at Sony, one at RCA, and the timing, and it's just a crazy business, man.
Sure.
So many things have to line up, but the songwriting part of it's been a blessing. It's truly been a blessing, and I've had a lot of success, and thankful for every any and every artist that ever cuts a song that you write. It's
absolutely.
just a blessing.
Well, I can imagine, but I gotta wonder personally, and I've thought a lot about this. As a songwriter, you gave birth to that idea, and that put pen to paper, and then into music. Is it ever hard to hear someone else sing your song?
No, honestly, it's not. And a reason being is because, in our business, there's millions of songs.
Right.
I mean, let's just face it. There's, we've all written, probably in 30 years, anybody that's been call it a lunchbox songwriter, a guy who goes to work every day and writes every day and does this for a living, probably 4,000 or 5,000 songs maybe. And the percentage of those that end up getting cut, making a record, or even making it to the radio is pretty small.
Pretty slim. Yeah.
So anytime that you have an artist that, loves a song, or it touches them in a way that makes them want to sing it, take it out to their audience and play it, and just really run with it. I mean, they have to commit to sing that song every night, and let it be a part of their nightly show. And man, anytime that happens, it's a blessing. I mean, truly, because that's what we got in the business for, is to write songs, and hopefully, have some of our favorite artists cut them, and it's just a.
Well, let's talk about that. So, in your early career, who was the first big artist to ever take one of your songs? And
Gary Allen.
Gary Allen.
Yeah,
I love Gary Allen.
He cut a song called "Sorry" on his "Smoke Rings in the Dark" record back '97. I think he cut that. Maybe that record came out in '98 or so, but. Yeah, and it was. I ended up getting to sing on harmony on a couple songs on that record as well. And Gary's just, man, he's just a fantastic artist.
Yeah, and I've been a fan of Gary's a long time.
Me too. Yeah. I was a fan of him off that first record, and then got to meet him, and get to hang out with him, become friends with him. And Odie, my buddy that wrote Nothing On But the Radio with, he and Byron Hill. Byron actually found Gary in California, and then got him signed to his record deal, and ended up producing the first record. And we all just became friends with Gary. And Odie and Gary were really close for a while. And he's just a fantastic artist, man. Like you said, he had his. The thing I loved about Gary, and still do to this day, is he was so identifiable. Gary, those records, the records Mark Wright cut on him were just amazing as well, and they just a sound, man, that just identified Gary, and his voice, and then his look. Everything that Gary did was all Gary. Yeah, he wasn't following anybody. He was kind of setting a trend.
He didn't have a stylist say you need to dress like this or cut your hair or whatever.
He didn't. I mean, he did.
That's cool.
Gary did what he did, and he did it the way he wanted to do it, and I think that's the reason he's had such a long career.
Sure.
He kind of created his own lane, and then just went for it.
Yeah. Yeah, love that. So you've written songs for Gary. And I guess I shouldn't say. And maybe some of those you did write specifically for an artist. I know you work with John Party a lot.
Oh, yeah, a lot.
So you and John sit down and write together. You told a story last night about we were talking about John Party. So you do a lot with John Party.
Yes, sir.
You told a story last night about
Heartache on the Dance Floor.
Heartache on the Dance Floor, and he walked on the bus. You were traveling with him. Tell that story for me, will you?
Well, we were out writing. He had his first record, and they were making the second record, and so he had me out to write on the bus with him. It was me and his producer and him, and which happens a lot as you get connected to these artists or you've had hits with them. I've spent tons of time out on the road with Randy Houser as well, you know, writing songs and but that particular run we were on, we wrote All Time High and Heartache on the Dance Floor on that the same night. And John, that was John. He, you know, one thing I love about Party is just what I loved about Gary is John has a lane. John is an artist who does what John does, and he's always been that way, and he's real adamant about doing what he loves to do, and I love it because his melodies and what he does as a writer, when you write with him, it just can't be reproduced. I mean, it's John. When John stamps something, when he writes it, it's really John. I mean, it's the melody, the phrasing, all of that stuff is so John, and what our job is, honestly, as a songwriter, is to help him do that to the level that he wants to do it at. You know what I mean? And that's what we did with that song. He had the whole "Where's she at? Where's she at? Where's she at tonight? Where's she at? Where's she?" I mean, he had that. He was singing that. He was, you know, playing those chord changes and singing that. And man, after he played his show, we just
got on the
fell
bus
into
and
doing it, man. And that
out.
song came probably, I don't know, a couple hours maybe, 2.5 or something, and we just developed a story around it. That was a thing. I was like, man, we gotta paint a picture, develop a story about what this is, and that, you know, him being from California and all that stuff, it just fit into his brand and who he is, and you know, like I said, we wrote that thing fairly quickly, and then, you know, we wrote All Time High. It was an idea I had right behind it, and that was just a great. You know, those days you hope you have a lot of them in your career.
Oh, sure.
But they come when they come, and sometimes they're not often. But,
right. You got to capitalize on them when they do.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Yeah,
when they come
the
along,
same night. That's
amazing.
Pretty rare. Well, we got to see John Party this year, so I've always loved John. When I first heard John on the radio, I liked his music. I liked his sound. I knew he was a California boy, and he, you know. I'm a cowboy, and I liked his look. I liked and I don't know much about him, about his background, but anyway, he resonated with me, and
absolutely,
so I took to his music. We are very eclectic in our music choices. We really lean a lot towards that Texas sound, you know, the Americana stuff, and having grown up in Idaho, which is where we're from, we have and maybe you know him, but Reckless Kelly, Mickey and the Motor Cars, those guys, the Brown Boys, that music really resonates. And we go to their festival. They had their 40th awesome, festival this year in Idaho. I said, I don't know how many festivals have gone on that long, right?
Yeah, I don't know either. That's a long time.
That's a long time, and especially in the country,
yes,
you know, in that world. So, but anyway, so let's talk a little bit more. So you've cut records also for Reba. You said you started out with Reba, Hank Jr.
Yep.
Randy Houser, Like a Cowboy. I love that song.
Favorites, man. He's just amazing, and that, you know, and that side of things we have in common too. Byron, I grew up in Kentucky, but I grew up in the cattle business. Around, you know, I've team roped forever. I loved horses.
I ran a rope company for 13 years.
Yeah, well,
Gator ropes.
Oh,
Rocky
dude,
Mountain
are you kidding
Magnum.
Me?
No,
I used to use y'all's ropes in college, man. Y'all's Gator rope, the all nylon heel ropes. I used to use them. And
the
it's
albino.
Funny, the albino, because they used gators
the
that were
rubber gators.
Yeah, that were on it. That's crazy. Yeah, I started using those ropes some in college, and then of course, you know, like a lot of, I mean, I'm a big classic fan. I love Equibrand. I love all their products. I'm sorry, I do.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's just me, man. I'm
was a bad word for a long time.
I'm sure. I understand.
We are very brand loyal. Miss Shando has worked at the NFR for Stetson Clothing for 18 years. This will be her 18th year.
That's awesome.
So we're big Stetson Clothing fan company, or you know, I wear Stetson jeans, and you know, but.
Well, I'm a Wrangler guy. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. But it's like hats. I mean, she works with Stetson. I don't wear Stetson hats. I wear Atwoods.
Oh, cool.
Brooks Atwood is a very good friend of mine. I don't know did you know Brooks? He spent time in Nashville. So.
I don't remember if I met him, I may have, but
it's been several years.
I'm an American guy, so I mean, we can cover all the bases.
We cover them all,
today.
but we're gonna go opposites.
Yes,
but that's
sir.
okay. But
that's
okay.
Fine. That's like Gibson or Martin or whatever. You know, I mean, it's the same.
I'm a Teton guy.
I get it. I totally get it. I understand.
But the deal is whatever you love. But you know what I do love is I love your music and I love your style. And,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So let's keep talking. We've wandered off track a little bit, but that's okay. But I love that we have that in common, the horse deal.
Me too.
And
Me too.
I rode cutters for a number of years, and so that was.
I rode for a guy in college that had a bunch of cutters and stuff.
Oh
so,
yeah.
It's man. Those, I know we're talking music, but that whole side of horses and cattle and all that stuff, man. That's. You know, it's a love for me that I'll never. As much as I love music, Byron, that side of life to me it's a neck and neck thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it truly is. I've team roped forever, and I love it. Any of the cow horse stuff, I love to watch the cutting. It's just. Anyway, we can get back to the music, but that's a part of me. That's a big part of
that
me.
was my first love. I grew up on a farm.
Sure.
I'm an Idaho farm boy. I always wanted to be a cowboy, right? So that's the direction I went. I started roping when I was 15 years old and started rodeo and went to the high school finals in the tie-down roping. And so I worked really hard at it. And it's like music, right? And I wish I'd have stuck with the music. I started at the same time to play the guitar and didn't stay with it. In December, I knew I was getting close to retirement. I said to Shanda, one of these days I'm going to have something to do for fun. So
that's awesome.
I started playing my guitar again.
Awesome.
And I'm terrible, but I play every day.
Yes, sir.
And of course with the apps, Ultimate Guitar.
Oh, it's amazing what you can find today.
And that old adage, 3 chords and the truth, right? That
sir.
If you know 3 chords, you can play a lot of songs.
You can keep a lot of people entertained with 3 chords.
Yeah, well, I can entertain people, mostly not with a guitar though. Mostly just talking, right?
That's awesome.
I can spin a yarn almost as good as most songwriters can. But I announced some rodeos. I used to announce a lot of U.S. ropings. And the
awesome.
WTRC, the Wrangler Team Roping Championships.
Sir.
So I've been down that road. So.
That's awesome, man.
Anyway,
well, that's paths we've crossed that are that's
somewhere.
A good commonality to have.
You bet.
Both of us.
So and I've asked this of a lot of songwriters, what's your favorite song? But they always say it's the most recent one, obviously. But maybe. Yeah, you have one that really, really sticks.
Man, when somebody asks me that, there's probably a couple songs that truly come to mind, and both of them are Hauser songs. I mean, Anything Goes for me is one of my favorite songs I've ever written. I wrote it with John Wiggins. It was John's idea, and we were writing that day, and he just kind of threw it out, and we wrote that song, and it became Randy's first hit, his first single at country radio, and then Like a Cowboy, of course, because it's it's just I'm such a Hauser fan. I mean, I love Randy. I love writing with him. I love just hanging out with him. And that side of that song, there's a lot of me in it as far as just the knowledge of what that song pertains to as far as the cowboy lifestyle, and also it pertains to Randy. I mean, he rode horses and stuff back when he was in high school and things, and he knows that side of stuff as well. And then he was relating it a lot to being on the road all the time and having to come in and out. And there's just a lot of similarities, as you know, between that rodeo world and a recording artist out on the road. I mean, you may jump in a truck with 3 other buddies and go to team roping or go to rodeos all over, or you may jump on a bus or van, same kind of lifestyle. It's just travel and show up at a place, do what you do, jump back in and go to another place.
Right. Well, it is very similar. I see a lot of similarities, and we named the podcast Musical Miles Podcast because we've traveled tens of thousands of miles to listen to live music.
Sure.
We drove a long ways to come up here, almost 8-hour drive from home.
Awesome,
and so
man.
but we love live music, so we would go a long ways to listen to somebody we really wanted to hear. And we've been fortunate. This year we actually, since mid-May, I've probably seen over 70 live acts.
That's awesome.
Maybe more than that.
Lot, man.
That is a lot. And but these songwriter festivals are extremely unique because they're more intimate.
Sure.
The crowd's a lot smaller. You don't have some guy spilling beer down your neck and like we did at the Morgan Wallen concert to see Party. Like
Sure.
Party was
I
playing
get
with
it. Yeah,
Morgan in Denver.
absolutely.
And we actually got to see those guys for free. We got tickets given
man.
to us, so
That's
it was awesome.
Yeah.
But no, we just love this experience to get to see live music and to meet artists like yourself.
Sure.
And because I just have such high regard for what you do.
Thank you.
Because you're a storyteller, and that's what I love. I love that somebody can sit down and take that idea from their head and put it
Absolutely.
onto paper and then into notes and sing a song, right?
Yeah.
And tell the story.
Yeah, and I find it interesting just over the last few years. This songwriter show, this kind of thing, Byron, has really taken off. There's
Sure.
tons of opportunity, and I'll probably play 70 something shows this year.
No kidding.
I played 77, I think, last year, maybe 80 the year before, and that's counting I'll play the Bluebird 4 or 5 times a year in Nashville,
Right.
and there's a really cool place called the Listening Room that's really set up for songwriters in Nashville, but there's so many of those things that are just out here and all over the country,
Right, right.
and it's such a great opportunity to be able to go and do what we do and let people know how we wrote the songs, talk to
Right.
them about how this got cut or how this ended up on the radio or how this got cut and didn't end up on this record, but it ended up on somebody else's record.
Right.
All that stuff, the inside part of the music business is what people find fascinating, I think.
Well, they don't have any idea, and they all take for granted. And I think most people think when they hear a song on the radio by John Party
Sure.
or Garth or whoever,
Yeah.
oh, they wrote it.
Yep.
That's just came
Yep.
from, but they don't understand that. Well, even George and
Sure.
George cut some of
Oh,
yours. King George is a
man,
great guy. I've
the
seen him
best.
live, but George doesn't write much.
No.
Hardly
No.
at all.
No, and he didn't really write much at all till the last few years,
Right.
the last few records at it. And then, Bubba, his son, got to start
Right.
writing, and he, of course, in him, I think George just thought, well, I'm going to get back into writing, and then I'll just be something I'll be able to do with my son. And and man, it's just I've developed a great relationship with Bubba, his son, and I just think the world.
I
of
actually
him.
got to meet Bubba years ago at the NFR.
Yes, sir.
Hung
He's
out with him.
he's awesome, man.
He was pretty young at the time, but anyway.
He's such a great guy, and him and his wife Taryn, they're just wonderful people, man.
Sure.
And I've written a lot of songs with Bubba. And
Have
we've
you?
had George cuts together,
Yeah.
for that reason.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's just our business with this storyteller kind of songwriting thing. It's interesting because I play these shows and like this event downtown and around here. Joanne and them kind of set this up to bring some songwriters out here to Whitefish to let people see what that's all about,
Right,
which is
right.
cool. And then out of things like this, man, it's crazy how many gigs we get. Like I'll meet somebody and they'll go, hey, would you come to so-and-so and play?
Right.
And I go, yeah, absolutely. Or
Sure.
there's private shows that, I get hit up all the time on socials like, hey, we're doing this event, or would you come to our, we're having a private event at our ranch. Would you come play? And
Right.
I get a lot of that stuff where people reach out, and I love it. They'll reach
Right,
out and they'll
right.
say, would you come here? What would it cost us to get you here, there?
Right.
And we get a lot of shows that way.
I wish I'd have met you years before. I knew of Trent Willman.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And I love his music. Shanda got to meet Trent.
Sure.
I've never met him, but he came in the booth at the NFR. But years ago, I put together a celebrity team roping. I have some friends who are stuntmen. Wish I'd have known you then. I'd have had you come to Idaho.
I would
and
have loved to have been there.
Sun Valley, Idaho is where we had
gosh,
that.
man.
Yeah,
I would
And
have
it was-
loved to have been out there
It
with
was
y'all.
so cool. But actually reached out to Trent, tried to get him to come to his management, tried to get him to come and do a concert and then rope in the
Sure.
deal. And it just feasibly, we couldn't make it
Sure,
work. So yeah, this has been cool. I know you got a lot of stuff going on.
Man, I'm
today.
I'm yours right now. Whatever you want to do, Byron. I mean, I'm here for as long as you want me to be.
Well,
Honestly, We can
I'm having a
keep
great
visiting,
time, and
talking,
I love
whatever.
I love the connection with the horses
Yes,
and,
sir,
and
me too.
the roping and the
Me
rodeo
too.
world. So, what is your? Are you a head or a healer?
Healer.
Healer. You did say that. Use that.
Yeah, I was
albino
a healer
rope.
most of the time, and I headed. I mean, of course, like most ropers, you start out heading as a kid.
Right,
and
right.
then
That's
you
where I
move.
started. Yeah.
And when I moved to college, when I went away to college and stuff, I got to meet a really good friend of mine, and that turned into be one of my best buddies. And he had a place there right outside of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I went to college at MTSU, and because I wanted to be close to Nashville. And there's a ton of, but what a lot of people don't understand out there in our country is there's a ton of roping, right? I mean, out around Nashville and stuff.
Right,
There's tons
right.
of Franklin area, Springfield area, up around.
We had
Tons of
some
ropers.
dealers out there, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where, and I'm trying to
Absolutely.
remember that dealer out there in Murfreesboro. But anyway.
Yeah, and so I met him, and then when I moved my horses and stuff down there, there's a lot of headers there, not many healers. So heck, I just started healing and fell in love with it, and did that. You know, went to tons of U.S. ropings, World
Sure.
Series ropings.
So what's your number?
Well, I was a 6 for the longest time,
Yeah.
and then I've had a couple neck surgeries, so
Okay.
I got moved down to a 5, and
Okay.
and I don't get to rope and stuff as much as I used to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in that particular instance and reason, you
Sure,
know,
sure.
I enjoyed the
No, that's
the
good. That's a good
downgrade
thing.
of-
Obviously,
yeah.
most people don't understand the handicap system and
Oh,
team
yeah.
roping. The lower the number, the better.
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
better
it
the
was-
deal. And a lot of guys think that high number. I'm a 6,
Yeah.
7, 8. You know.
But it just
Yeah.
it you know, the numbers of the ropers in the events aren't as many, and there's you
Yeah.
know, it's like less money to win the higher you go. I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like.
without a doubt, without
Yeah.
a doubt. Yeah. So that's always a fun deal. Went out to the U.S. finals once, but got to see. We've been really fortunate in the rodeo world because I was involved in the
Sure,
rope business
man.
and involved with Shanda and with Stetson and those guys. So I always tell everybody, and I'm going to ask you this question, being a rodeo guy. So top 4 rodeos that you say a guy's got to see if you're a rodeo fan.
Oh man, I think that's pretty obvious. Pendleton,
Yep.
Cheyenne.
Yep.
Of course, you have to go to the NFR. I mean, that's
Yep.
you know, that's a kind of a given.
Yep.
And probably Houston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Calgary.
See, I've never been.
See, we got to
I've
go
never
last
been.
summer.
Yeah, I've never been. I'd love to go, but
I
I've
went
never
when I
been.
was 15.
Oh wow.
And had never been back. Now I'm 63 years old now, and so I was in the ag industry for many years,
Sure.
and I was up until 1st of July. I was the brand president for a manufacturing company. We had dealers in Canada, so we went up to see my dealer, and I talked my beautiful bride into going. I said, "You want to go to Canada?" And she's like, "Yeah, not really." I said, "You want to go to Calgary to the Stampede?" She said, "Absolutely."
Yes,
So we took
yes.
about a 2-week road trip, and we're
Good
fixing
for
to take
y'all.
another 2-week road trip next week. We're headed to Texas for the
Oh.
podcast, so we're going down to Austin and New Braunfels.
Oh,
and
God.
and
Hill
we're going to go to
country,
Green.
man.
We're
Hill
going to go to
country.
Green.
It's
We're
my
going to go
favorite
to
part of Texas,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, we-
Green, San Marcos, all that Bernie, all that hill,
yeah.
all that. It's the to me.
Hello,
it's the
Tess. We're
prettiest
going out to
place.
JT Floors.
Oh, yeah.
So part of what we do is we also feature venues.
Mm-hmm.
So in fact, we want to tell everybody we're here at the Great Northern Bar and Grill here in
Whitefish.
Whitefish. And these guys have been great to let us come and
Sure.
do the podcast here today. They've been really good. So we're just
Yeah, it's
out
a
here
great
on,
venue.
Yeah,
It's
we're
a
out here on
very
the patio.
cool-
So
very
today
cool
there will be
bar.
events going on here.
Yes,
This
sir.
is one of the places that they're going to be playing today. So yeah, what is one of your favorite venues to perform at? I mean, we talked
Well-
about the hill country, but have you played Green ever?
I have.
Awesome.
I played Green back. Golly, this is a crazy story, but there was a, one of the legendary guys for that area named Clay Blaker back in the day. And I was signed at RCA at the time, and I went down to write some songs with Clay because I was a fan of. You remember, I'm just a lonesome cowboy, a little bit over the hill. The thing that Strait cut.
Okay.
Years ago, I'm trying
Yeah.
to think of the title. It's slipping me right now. But Clay wrote that, and he wrote it.
Sorry.
Anyway, Clay wrote that song. He wrote it by himself, and I was a fan of it forever. And he had straight cuts, and he had a band down there. And anyway, I went down to write some songs with him. Spent 2 or 3 days with him. I'd stopped in Austin and wrote with Bruce Robison on the way down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
anyway,
Love Bruce and Charlie. Those guys are awesome.
Man, Bruce is
Yeah.
a beast.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and then went on down and wrote with Clay. Well, Clay was playing Green Hall that weekend.
Okay.
And he said, "Man, would you be willing to open with my band and play before I?" And I was like, "Clay, are you serious?" And he said, "Yeah." And it was absolutely packed. Windows up on both sides. The dance hall. It was absolutely packed, and it was an amazing thing for me to be able to do, and especially
Yeah.
open for Clay back
Yeah.
in those days. This was about 2000 and probably 1 or 2, maybe
Okay.
somewhere in there. And Clay was, I mean, he was just legendary down there in
Sure.
that area. And so, yeah, Green Hall is amazing. For me, the Ryman, of
Right,
course.
and we got to go to the Ryman.
Yeah.
We didn't see a show there. I've not seen a show at Green yet. I've been to Green Hall
man,
3
you're gonna
times.
love it.
We're going on the 25th. We're going to see Cody Canada and the
Oh, you're
Departed.
gonna love it.
And we actually got to interview Cody. Do you know
Yeah.
Cody?
I do know him, yeah.
Yeah, great guy and had
a
a great
fan
interview.
of, you know, Ragweed back when they were
And,
together.
and you've heard all the news, right?
Oh, yeah.
The scuttlebutt.
Yeah.
Sold out
Yeah.
OSU
Yeah.
4 nights.
Those
It was
guys
going to
are-
be one night,
Yeah.
one night only,
Yeah,
and
it's-
ended up being 4.
Yeah, it'll be amazing
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, and but anyway, we're going to go see Cody and his kids. Waves in April are opening for him.
Oh, that's
they're,
awesome.
They're a heavy metal band. They're
Oh,
pretty.
wow.
And I got to interview those kids as well.
That's cool.
And we're going
I
to
didn't
try
know
and do
that.
some more stuff. So his boy Dirks is named after Dirks
Dirks
Bentley,
Bentley, yeah.
because Cody toured with
Sure.
Dirks, and so Willie, his other son Willie's a drummer, and he's
I wonder
named
who
after
he's
Willie
named
Braun.
after. Oh, Willie Braun. I
Yeah.
thought you were fixing to say Willie
Will
Nelson.
Nelson, no. Yeah, they are so talented. Dirks
that's
is an
cool.
incredible guitar player. But
Wow.
anyway, so
check 'em out.
we reached back out to him. They just dropped a new single, and so I sent him a message, and we're gonna sit down and we're gonna shoot some more footage and
Awesome.
do some stuff with them while we're
Awesome.
there. But we also have some great interviews with some other artists out there. I mean,
Awesome.
we're excited. 2 weeks. We're gonna start in Lubbock. Actually, we're gonna start at Cook's.
Oh, cool.
Have you been to Cook's Garage?
I have not played there, but
Okay.
I know of it. Yes.
Yeah, we're going to interview a young band from Waco, the Huser Brothers.
Oh wow, I don't know.
Anyway,
I've heard of them. That's
but,
awesome.
But just like Nashville, I went to Nashville 2 years ago for some meetings
Sure.
for a company I worked for, and while we were there, with 5 minutes into town, we sat down, went into a Mexican restaurant, had dinner it just sat at the bar, and there was a girl sitting next to me, and we just get to talking, and I'm like, "Hey, what do you do here?" "Well, I'm a singer-songwriter." Well, everybody in Nashville is, even the Uber drivers
Yes,
are all
absolutely.
singer-songwriters, right? And so, oh my goodness, her name is Jess Kelly Adams. I don't know if you know Jess Kelly
don't.
Adams, but I said, "Well, while we're in town, can we come see you play?" And she said, "Well, I'm just leaving on tour." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So, but I looked her up, and she definitely, and
She's
we're friends now
out
on social media and have been for 2 years. And she's a busy girl, but
Yeah.
does a lot of the Midwest stuff.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's amazing just in the last several years, you used to have to come to Nashville, get a record deal, do the thing to get your music out and stuff. Man, with this new technology and
Oh.
everything going on, I tell you, it's amazing to me how successful. If an artist wants to work and wants to really hit the road and work,
right,
I think, sky's the limit for
sure,
them.
sure.
And we, as writers in Nashville, we get a lot of different artists that are just, they're kind of started their own label, doing their own thing,
Right.
Streaming their own stuff and all that.
Well, you can do it. I mean,
Absolutely.
a lot of these artists that we've interviewed, they all, I talk about their first record that they put out on Spotify. They recorded it in their living room with
Oh,
a
yeah.
sock over
It's
the microphone.
amazing, man.
Well, even
Technology.
the technology and the equipment that we have, even for this podcast, is
Absolutely.
is really good when it works and when we know what we're
Sure,
doing.
sure.
But well, this is so cool. So do you have family? You have kids?
I don't.
No
I don't,
kids?
No. We
Okay.
have nieces and nephews on
There
both
you go.
sides. My wife and I on both sides. And
Okay.
And but yeah, all my family's still in Kentucky and
Okay.
they're still in cattle business, farming kind
Okay.
of thing. And then my wife's side of the family is all from Louisville, so
Okay.
we're both Kentucky. We met in Nashville, but we're both from the state of Kentucky. And
We actually got to go to Kentucky to the Kentucky Derby. How many years ago, Miss Shanda? In 2011 is when we went. That's a cool experience.
That's an amazing experience, man. If you've never been there and seen it,
my gosh.
it's unbelievable.
Well, being a horse person.
I was fixing to say, being a horse lover,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
There's nothing like that thunder that comes down
Oh,
that
no.
stretch at the end of that
No.
derby
Yeah.
or any of those races. The Oaks the day before.
the most exciting 2 minutes in sports.
It's unbelievable.
Right? Unbelievable.
It's unreal. And when they're all out running, trying to win that thing, and those jockeys, man, it pumps your blood.
Oh, yeah.
It really, you feel it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Oh, no. It's
and
an experience
It
you
is
can't- you
truly
cannot
an experience. You can't
tell
tell
someone.
somebody.
Nope.
That's exactly right. It's
No.
amazing.
Yeah, my best friend from high school moved there. He was with UPS. She said 2013.
Okay. 2013.
Yeah, it was our 31st wedding anniversary.
Oh,
It was
well, congratulations. That's a good way to spend the 31st.
We've been
wedding
married
anniversary.
42 years
Good
now.
for y'all,
so,
man.
So it's been a quite the experience. But no, we loved it, and we got to go to Louisville, and that's what made me think of the Kentucky Derby.
Sure.
But a friend of ours, a fellow team roper, oh my gosh, now I'm not Ace Mitchell.
I know him.
You know Ace?
I know him. Dang right, I know him.
And a great horseshoer.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
a great
know him.
team roper.
Yes,
He
sir.
came out to Idaho, and he used to get ropes from me.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know
Oh,
a
yeah,
guy
I
by
know
the
him.
name of Nelson Linares?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we're hoping that he survived the hurricane. I
Oh,
talked to
man.
him earlier in the week.
Yeah, all those, man,
Spunk
that's
Sasser,
Southeast thing.
Spunk
Oh, no, all
Sasser.
those guys, man. Are you kidding me?
Those guys are my
all
buds.
those Florida guys and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, all that, of course, Southeast. I mean,
Kyle Lawrence.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember when Luke and Jason
Oh, yeah.
Tucker and of course Chad Masters
Oh,
grew
yeah,
up.
Chad,
I've
you
known
bet.
Chad since he was, probably 8 or 9 years old. I mean,
Wow.
Adams, Tennessee. We
It is a
grew up
really small
close to
world
each
when you
other.
start connecting
It's
the
tiny,
dots.
Tiny.
Yeah.
I mean, from all those guys, man.
Yeah.
Tons of them that were
that's
out there
funny.
in the southeast, and I'm glad that Driggers. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, Caleb,
All
you
those
bet.
guys, went out there to Texas, moved out from the southeast, and really, in all honesty, showed them that there's, there's a lot of talent
boys,
that rolls into
the
state of
Esquasia
Texas.
boys,
Oh, man,
Manny
Dustin
and
Manny.
little brother
Huh.
Dustin. Oh my gosh,
Dude,
I've never seen
can
anybody
do
get
it,
it out of their
man.
hand like those boys can. And
No,
Caleb,
sir.
I mean,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
all talented.
Yeah, Driggers is amazing, man. But so is Dustin.
If we've lost our music fans in this conversation, we
We'll get you
apologize.
back.
But we'll get you back. We'll finish up. We're going to have you
Yeah.
sing us a song in a minute. But it's so cool because I tell everybody, you listen, I know somebody that knows somebody that killed somebody, so it won't take me very long to connect the dots, whether it's in the rodeo world
Yes,
or
sir.
the potato world or the ag,
Yes,
the
sir.
music industry, somehow, some
And
way.
those industries I love. I mean, that's what I love so much about what I've have been able to do is I had so many of those things cross wires, from the music and the team roping side
Sure.
of things, and gave me so many opportunities to to be around so many great, like I've become like great friends with Justin McBride and Cody and Jay, all those guys in that PBR world
Sure,
as well.
sure.
And the common denominator in that for us was music, man.
Yes, yeah.
And
well, JW plays the guitar and sings, does he
oh
not?
yeah, and his wife does, Leanne, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Leanne's great. What a
Yeah.
great singer she is. And of course Justin, he did
Justin's
the music.
who I'm thinking, Justin did music
Justin
for a
did
while.
the music thing,
Yeah.
and I worked with that crazy cat, man, and I love him, man.
Yeah.
He's so talented, and just like anything he does, he's successful in it.
Sure.
And that music thing was something that he really had a want to do, and did it for a while, and was really good in it, because the one thing Justin could bring to the table that some people didn't is he was legitimately a cowboy with a lot of success.
Right.
Like
right.
Ledoux was.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I'm working on getting an interview with Ned. He's coming to
yeah.
Idaho.
Awesome.
His management actually reached back out to me, so I'm hoping.
You should get Chancey on too, man. I've been producing
and I have
stuff.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I've been working with him on this. The
Okay.
last few things that he's done, I've produced, and going to produce some new stuff on him
Awesome.
in January. And
Well, we'll swap some information because he's going to be in Vegas.
Yeah,
while I'm there.
Yeah.
At the NFR this year.
I'm going to be out there too.
Are you gonna be out there?
I'm going to be out there when he's playing the South Point for a couple of days.
Perfect.
I'm going to go out there.
Well,
and
we
just-
would
yeah.
love to sit down with Chancey. And,
Yeah, you
and-
should.
And
You
actually,
should.
our connection, I had a connection, a friend that lives in Nashville, Amy Keene.
Amy forever. I actually, you're going to think, but Amy I worked with Stetson for a while with her.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. And she was so good to me. And then whenever, she
Left,
that
yep.
deal, then, I've been at Wrangler, and Edie she's just a
Sure.
blessing. Edie's
Sure.
such a blessing, and she's awesome. And, but yeah, I love Amy. I still love her, and she reaches out every now and then,
She
and we
is
do
so
some things
sweet.
with
Well,
her
we're gonna-
charity thing. That
We're going to
she's
take
doing.
a picture when we're done here,
Yeah.
and we're going to text Amy and
I love
send
her.
that to her.
I love her so much.
I got to show you. I have a series of pictures since I met her, and I stand on whatever I can stand on
I know.
to have a picture with her because she's so damn
She
tall.
is
She's a
tall
big old girl,
lady.
and
Tall,
just
tall
love her.
lady. She's
Love
the
her.
best.
Yeah.
She's one of the sweetest, most wonderful
Yeah.
people you'll meet, and she's
Yeah.
been doing a charity thing that she's been involved in, and we've been able to do a couple shows. Win Varble and I, and Kevin Denny went out to Phoenix, out in that area to play a thing for her, and but she's just a beautiful person.
Oh,
she's
she's
just a wonderful lady, and
Yeah.
I think the world of her.
Yeah, in fact, when we went to Nashville, we called her and had brunch with her.
Sure.
But I reached out to her when I told her we were doing the podcast, and so
Awesome.
she's I can get you Chancey, and
Yeah,
she's giving us some leads. We haven't got anything put together. I'm not a big do stuff over the computer Zoom.
Sure.
I want to be in person.
I understand that.
And so we have a ton of stuff in the can already, and we're gonna. This probably won't air until we're probably in Vegas,
Sure.
but close to it. But I would love to sit down with Chancey
Yeah,
and
you've got to.
any of those other artists that you can help swing my
Yeah,
way.
you bet. Yeah.
Because we're a little bit in the podcast world like the music industry. We need that one
Oh, sure.
cool interview
Sure.
that really, which this
Understand.
is going to be it. This is going to
Well,
push us over the
thanks,
edge.
man. Thanks for having me. But yeah, man, you should. You said, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, especially with those worlds that cross. Chancey's been such a. I mean, he's a real cowboy. He's
Oh,
a
yeah.
real deal.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Grew up
A
ranching.
Wyoming
he's-
boy and-
there's other people that talk about being ranchers or whatever.
Sure.
You know, in the music business, guys that say all this stuff. But Chancey has lived it.
He's
man.
the deal. Well, and
he's
he
ridden
rode
at Cheyenne.
Bronx. He's rode
I mean,
Bronx, yeah.
I mean, he's ridden there at
Yeah.
Cheyenne.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's. I mean,
Yeah,
golly.
yeah,
And
yeah.
just this year got in the. You know, they put him in the Cheyenne Hall of Fame.
I saw that. We
Yeah.
went to Cheyenne. We've been to Cheyenne a couple of times. 2 years ago, two or 3 years ago was the last time we were there. Been to Pendleton multiple times.
I love that rodeo.
Yeah,
I
that is. There's
absolutely
nothing
love
like
that
it.
rodeo,
That
man.
grass is.
And that letter buck room, stay
Oh.
away from it. Stay out of it. That's all I can tell you. Stay away from it. But
I've
it's,
been there. I've been there.
Man, that's
Don't
that
tell my
rodeo
mom. Of course,
is
my mom's not around anymore,
unbelievable.
but-
It really is unreal. That
Yeah,
rodeo.
it's so cool. It is so cool. Yeah. Well, listen. Thank you so much. This has
Man,
been a
thanks
lot
for
of fun.
having me, Byron.
This has been a
Shoot,
blast.
Thanks for asking me.
Grab that guitar, will you?
All right.
And play me a song. Here's a pick. I have some other picks, but mine are probably too soft. I like a soft pick, but is that tuned good enough? I played it this morning, so
yeah,
it's probably
great.
messed up.
Man, I don't know what.
You only have about 5,000 songs. Just something that's right off the top of your head that's easy. Something that people will know. Yeah, one of your favorites are.
All right. It's early this morning too. I'm just gonna lay
Do you
that
need a
out.
capo? Nah.
Normally this time of night, you wouldn't find me here. I'd be reaching for a goodnight kiss instead of one more beer. Never take a second look at the blonde across the bar, much less invite her over or let things go this far. But anything goes when everything's gone. You ain't around to give a damn whether I do right or wrong, so bring it on. Anything goes when everything's gone. Another morning after a crazy night before, and I'm searching for my blue jeans on a stranger's bedroom floor. Shouldn't I feel guilty? Hey, I don't feel a thing. Wake her up and say goodbye, but I can't recall her name, and anything is gone. You ain't around to give a damn whether I do right or wrong, so bring it on. Anything goes when everything's gone. If you'd have left a single thread for me to hold on to, I'd have one good reason not to do the things I do. But anything goes when everything's gone. You ain't around to give a damn whether I do right or wrong, so bring it on. Anything goes when everything's gone. Yeah, anything goes when everything's gone.
Wow.
Thank you, sir.
No, thank you. Here, I need you to autograph
All
that
right,
for me.
I'd be glad to.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
sir.
just pick a spot, whatever works for you. Man, this has been so much fun. I'm looking forward to sitting down with you again someday.
Yes, sir.
And
Anytime,
especially,
Byron. Thank you for having me, man.
In Vegas,
Yes,
we'll get
sir.
to maybe catch up in Vegas because
Yeah,
we will.
I'm planning on being out there when Chancey's playing for sure.
Sure.
I know there's a ton of friends of mine that'll be out there playing and artists and stuff. But that first weekend, I think I'll probably be out there for a couple days.
Okay. Yeah, I got invited to go to on the 7th, which is that Saturday, the first weekend, to Django Walker invited me out to Green Hall. He's fronting his dad's band and doing
Awesome.
all Jerry Jeff's music.
Oh my gosh, that'll be amazing.
Yeah.
That will be amazing.
We got to meet him in Idaho this summer and got to
Yeah.
interview him and what a cool story. He told us some great stories about his dad
I
and
bet he
Buffett
did,
and
man.
and
That's
Pat
legendary
Green
stuff
and,
right
yeah.
there, man. That's
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. Stories like that, in our business. I'm such a fan of songwriters and, of course, artists that we grow
bet.
up on and all that kind of stuff. But man, anytime you get to meet those guys, it's like Strait. When I got to meet George,
Sure.
and I actually got to write with him, and
Sure.
and I don't know. I never get tired of meeting those people that I just, made me want to do this.
Right.
Other writers, other artists, that kind of thing. And once you get to meet them and just realize that, like they are, man, they're just people.
They're people.
Man. They're just
they're
put their
just
britches on
famous
like
people,
we do.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. But what?
But they don't act, everybody has a bad day, whatever. But the
Sure.
99% of them are they just act like we do.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
just,
Well, I've got to tell you, everybody so far since we've been doing this has been extremely gracious. We've only had a couple of deals that went
Sure.
sideways on us, and that's okay.
Yeah,
Stuff
it's
happens.
understandable.
But for the most part, everyone's been so gracious, like yourself. And thank you again so much, Brice.
Byron, thank you
So,
for having me,
for
man.
Musical Miles Podcast, I'm your host, Byron Duff. And don't forget to follow us on social media as well as our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Click that button down there so that you make sure to get this interview when it comes out. So,
Awesome.
from Whitefish, Montana, we'll see you somewhere else down the road. Adios.